Hello everybody, today we're going to do a really quick, simple whipped cream with one accent nail of our new rose gold nail bling mix. The first thing you need to do is always prep your nails by dehydrating them with step one, and that is the nail primer in the green labeled bottle. Step two is base coat, and that is going to be applied very carefully, staying away from your cuticles and your sidewalls. And I always recommend very thin, quick coats. And as you can see, when you dip, you always want to dip at a 45-degree angle, very slowly. You don't want to force your fingernail or finger into the powder because it will cause the powder to shift and actually also push that onto your cuticles as well. Tap your finger on the side of the container to get rid of that excess powder. And I actually always brush at the end because that allows the powder to soak into the base coat very well by the time I come back to the very first finger that I start with. So this way it's very user-friendly, there's less mistakes, you don't end up getting semi-dry dip on your brushes. And in this video, I dipped her nails 3 times. I try to speed it up a little bit through the dipping, just so you get the general idea of how the first dip will look in the process, the second dip, and then the third dip. But I try to speed it up and keep it to at least a minimum of a minute or two so that you don't have to watch a really long video of the base coat application and dipping. So at this stage is when you use the kabuki brush and you brush off all the excess powder very well. This allows for all of the base coat to have soaked in as much as the dip powder as it can. And with the second dip, what I do is go a little bit further than I did with the first dip when applying the base coat, still not touching the sidewalls or the cuticles, but this ensures a very professional looking manicure. If you just take a few extra seconds when applying the base coat and dipping, this is what gives you that salon quality manicure. This is the third dip, and as you can see in the video, the pink manicure that I have on is actually over 3 weeks old, so yes, it is time to change it. But if you take your time during this process, which again only takes a few more seconds, you will ensure the longevity of your salon looking manicure right at home for only a few dollars, might I add. And again, you want to brush off all the excess powder. This actually helps ensure when you activate, you're not collecting any of those dust particles back onto your brushes. Activate very generously. I soak the brush each time. And also, when you're doing your activation process, be sure to run the brush along the edge of the nail at the end on the free edge, because that helps seal your edges, which helps prevent lifting and cracking in the future or prematurely out of your manicure. So at this stage is where we're going to file. If you have any imperfections on your nails or you just want to shape them, this is the stage where you do that. So here you can see on that nail, it kind of bled off of the nail just a little bit. So we're going to shape that up and clean that up off of the skin and shape that nail. And then also if you have any lumping or a bump in there that you're wanting to smooth down, again, this is the stage that you want to do that at. So after you've applied the activator the first time, you're going to wait probably 30 seconds to a minute. I usually give it a minute just to make sure that it is completely dry and it's had time to soak down into the layers in the bottom. But at this point, you just shape and file down any imperfections that you may have, because they will show up. The top coat does cover a lot, but it does not cover fatal flaws. So now that we've filed, you're going to brush off those particles, and then you're going to activate generously again for a second time. And be sure during this second activation that, again, you are applying a generous amount to each nail, as well as capping your free edges so that you prevent chipping and cracking and lifting in the future. So step 4 is your top coat, and this product is very similar to your base coat. You want to apply it in thin, quick, and even strokes, avoiding touching your cuticles and your sidewalls. And you want to make sure that when you are applying your top coat, you also are applying that to the free edge of the nail, which is also known as capping. And at this point, I usually do 2 coats of top coat, so it's really up to you how shiny you want your new dip manicure to look. So when you are applying the top coat, make sure that if you do happen to get any of it onto your skin, you quickly just dab that off. You can see I scraped it with my nail so that you don't have any problems in the future with it. So at this stage, I'm going to apply the Rose Gold Nail Bling Mix. This is a newer item on my website. So I was trying a couple different techniques on how to apply it. So you can see I've used craft tweezers. I also use regular tweezers. I use the cuticle pusher. They're little tiny beads and little tiny pieces of almost stone-like product. So we really liked the color of the product. We do like how it looks when it's finished. It's very classy looking. It's very elegant. If you're needing a manicure for a wedding or work or something like that, this is definitely a bling mix if you like rose gold to add to. As you can see, we chose the whipped cream manicure base, but this rose gold bling mix is adorable. I just tapped it down to make sure that it was sealed and pressed into the top coat very well. And in order to prevent snagging and, getting caught on like the hair or maybe a sweater or something like that, I'm going to go ahead and put some clear dip on top of it. So that's the same steps that you would do like the manicure. You do the base coat, and in this case, instead of dipping, we sprinkled the clear dip powder on top, and I just pushed it down to make sure that it got in between all the little pieces. You dust that off. You're going to activate it just like you do the process, and then I clear coat right over it. And that actually softened some of the edges, but it didn't take away any of the shine of the bling or any of the little beads that are in there. So the final step of your dip manicure is going to be applying the cuticle oil. So we've used a dehydrator on the nail, and you've also dipped your fingers into the powder, which dehydrates them as well. So you want to put that moisture and vitamins back into your cuticles. That also will prevent cracking around the nail as well of your cuticles. This manicure turned out so cute. If you are interested in picking up any of your dipping nail essentials, kits, powders, or liquids, and definitely all of these adorable nail blings, you can visit me at diynails.dipsydip.com to grab all of your needs. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comments below. And you can follow me on Facebook at DIY Nails. And thank you guys for watching. See you next Monday for Mani Monday.